The Bills have their first win of the 2022 NFL preseason. And the Sabres actually have some news this week by signing Riley Sheehan. Along with the rundown, some Would You Rather, hot takes, trivia, and more, this is the Buffalonian Podcast. All right, let's go. Are back with the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Callie, and as always, I'm joined by Dom Loss and Mike Marino, and we're going to get right into it with some Buffalo Bills news. The Bills have officially kept their 9-game win streak alive in the preseason by overtaking the Colts in a comeback victory. What are your thoughts, gentlemen?
Well, I mean, it was cool to see that they beat the Colts 27-24, same score as the 2020 Super Wildcard game.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of a fun fact.
Yeah, nice little
nugget.
Yeah,
little nugget to begin the pod. But it's a cool moment. Obviously, it's cool to win. I think everything is a lot better for winning. But at the end of the day, it's about seeing the young guys play, especially in the preseason. And I'd say that the Bills out of the Colts were big winners, even if the Bills would have lost. I think just because the Bills mostly had they did pretty much have backups in the entire time,
right.
And the Colts had some times with their starters and. The Bills did really well.
Yeah, their defense was standout to me. In the beginning of the game, it was solid.
I mean, that was mainly our backup defense, and that was, for the most part, their starting offense, what it'll be. Like, Matt Ryan had a few series. You saw Pittman out there, like, a lot of their starting offensive linemen. Eventually, their linemen, French fries.
No, that was a unique situation.
that was something I don't think I've ever seen before. So,
it was good to see. We saw a few guys really stand out. And it's good to see because those guys kind of had question marks, and it was like, what are they going to be? Are they going to make the roster? Are they just going to get buried in the depth chart, be healthy scratches? But some of them actually stood out really good.
Well, it's the first time that, these young guys have had NFL experience, all the rookies. And I thought mostly all the rookies, flashed and played well other than, Luke Tenuta, the 6th-round offensive tackle, probably was the only one that was like, really not stand out.
Right. Yeah.
But I think it shows, the depth of this draft class for being that, 6 of the 7 guys at least had some positive thing go. Well, they obviously punt God. What's that? Bomb?
Yeah. The punting competition's over. It's
cool because it's like, Areza had a nice punt. Balen Spector made a couple nice plays. Benford and Elam outside had some nice plays. Secure.
Boogie Basham was my standout.
Boogie Basham. So, it's cool to see these young guys, and I think Mike talks about it all the time on an on-show basis about having depth in your drafts, but I think what consistently has been, if anyone want to take note on how the Bills turn, their fortunes around, it's their ability to draft and develop on day 3. You see Taron Johnson, he just got a big extension last year in the 4th round a couple years ago. Matt Milano was a 5th-round draft pick. Tyler Bass was a day 3 pick, and now he's a pretty good kicker, I'd say.
Right, yeah.
So I think it's the ability for Bean not only to hit high in the draft, but also draft guys later in the draft that will make impact players on the roster. And it's also, the coaching staff is one of the best coaching staffs in the entire NFL.
Yeah, there's no question about that.
No, but their opinion on Biggie Basham is completely spot on.
Oh yeah.
But like he was the highest grade player according to PFF. I think he had like a 91.7.
It was
grade.
around a 92. Yeah.
I want to say obviously he had the really nice move in the Nick Foles causing the strip sack, which fellow rookie Terrell Bernard had nice. I believe 69 yards, 60-something. It was a high.
Yeah, he was slowing down at the end, though. I didn't think I was going to stick.
It's funny because you see, was it Cam Lewis next to him?
Yeah, he was
kind of like jogging.
And
Bernard's like sprinting.
He had his hand on his back at one point.
Honestly, it looked like he thought from like the 30 or 40 yard line. I think he just kind of decided to coast a little bit, and then all of a sudden that one Colt kind of came in frame. And you're like, oh man, this is a Leon Lutz situation.
Yeah, no, it's like Don Beebe coming up, but reversed, not the Bills. So you never know. But I thought he was gassed. Honestly, it's like the bar in Madden where it like. Your stamina bar just drops, and then he just stopped. Yeah, and he just slowed down. I was like, oh, this guy's gassed right now.
No,
The adrenaline took it all out of him.
but again, that's another rookie making a really nice play.
Yeah.
And
Even, he's not a rookie, but his first year was a complete wash. Last year was on the practice squad. Isaiah Hodgins,
Yes.
he played very well.
He did.
And the difference with him is
With
that he's an
Bickler and
outside
Barkley.
guy.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about like Shakir, McKenzie, they're all like the slot guy.
But Shakir had a lot of time outside too. It was kind of interesting to see that.
Yeah, but like besides Diggs and Davis, like you never hear anybody really outside. So hearing Hodgins maybe squeak in there, battle with like Kumaro or something, that could be something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's going to be an interesting conversation for Bean and McDermott to have. Is I don't think Hodgins is really going to make his name on special teams. I know he can play special teams, but it seems like Kumaro's a significantly better player than him there. But it also seems like Hodgins is a significant. I mean, Kumaro fumbled in the game, so I mean,
Yeah.
Kumaro's really not giving you much offensively. He's more of a special teamer, so. I don't think it's interesting. I don't think they're competing against each other for a spot per se, because I think Kumaro's really competing with, other guys for special team spots. The certain
Right.
numbers, whatever number of special team spots they have, and it also helps Kumaro that Andre Smith got suspended the 6 games, so he won't be a part of the 53-man roster to begin the year. So
Yeah.
that actually probably helps Kumaro. It's interesting because honestly, what could happen with Hodgins is that Spector. But obviously, he made some flash plays. If he performs well, on the special teams as well, maybe he takes Kumaro's spot, and then that allows Hodgins to take a spot on the roster.
Right.
I feel like Hodgins has more upside as receiver than Kumaro.
I would agree
Well,
with that.
I think that's pretty obvious. Just because just because.
We'll just manifest it, okay?
Well, also, I mean, don't lie to yourself. You're a big Isaiah Hodgins fan. You thought he was better than Gabe Davis coming out of college.
Right.
Yeah,
You
I
did.
did. I think I did say
I
that.
could definitely see that comment being made by Mike.
The biggest difference between the problem that Hodgins has, and this is that you see it on that one play where Barkley dimed him and he had that nice diving catch. He had a very good release, and he had an amazing catch, good catch radius, good release. But that corner got whooped off the line of scrimmage and was able to get back to his hip.
Right.
So I think what the problem with Hodgins is that is he really a good enough athlete per se? He's not really a fast guy.
No.
So I think
He's a
that's
size guy.
that's his problem. That's what his problem is going to be in the NFL level, is that if a top tier corner athlete gets beat by him, they could probably recover and at least be in the way to make it a harder catch. But he has been good at contested catches.
Yeah.
This is his first training camp where he's actually played well. So
Right. And one thing I just want to add in about preseason in general is sitting at the game live again was fantastic. It was amazing to be back there, but some of these fans, man, they're taking it like it's a regular season game. And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like you think back to the 4 Super Bowls, right? Every preseason game they lost for those 4 years. They did not win one single preseason game.
I believe the 2007 Patriots lost all 4 of their preseason games.
Exactly.
And-
Detroit went 4-0 and they ended up going 0-16.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that's what I'm saying,
means
though.
nothing.
The preseason means
I think
absolutely nothing.
Same thing with the Browns. I think they went 4-0 and then 0-16.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people where the results of the preseason mean nothing, but I wouldn't say the preseason means nothing.
No,
Yeah,
the
like, it's just
result,
like
I would
yeah.
say. If the Bills lost, I would have walked out of there with the same attitude I have right now that, man, we're looking good depth-wise.
Well,
Either way.
if the Bills would have lost that game, you'd have went off the Bills lost, but the Bills are bigger winners than the Colts.
Exactly.
Because
And
the Colts offense the Colts ones looked bad.
they traded for Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan looked worse than... Who's the rookie that they put in at the end of the game?
Jack Cohen.
Yes, he was
And
running all over us. Like that.
No.
Ellinger?
It's Ellinger. Not Cohen was terrible.
Ellinger?
No,
Yeah.
Ellinger was
No,
terrible.
yeah, he was decent. He did better than Matt Ryan did, and that was against our second string defense.
Yeah.
We tore him apart.
Nick
And
Foles
also,
was
this just
terrible.
shows how fraudulent Matt Ryan is as a quarterback. I mean, let's just be honest here. After that 28-3 loss, it was game over for him. His career was out the window in the toilet, in a dumpster fire, if you will. That's all I got to say.
No, I think it's also cool to see guys like Tim Settle make a couple nice plays
Yeah.
in run defense. I just think this is going to be it's a different year for the Bills, because I think what the Bills have been lacking is the guy like Tim Settle or Daquan Jones in the middle of the defense that is a legit run stopper.
Yeah.
Not like, Starr was the guy that everyone thought could be the run stopper.
Exactly.
But he was never available, and he really never performed when he was on the field. These guys
Right.
perform. It's huge for guys like Milano and Edmonds, who I would say, to be honest, are who so far in their careers have been kind of average to below average run defenders.
Right.
And having them be clean most of the time could be a huge difference in those guys taking jumps in that aspect of their game.
Exactly. And I think, I dog on Tremaine quite a bit, right? I mean, that's known at this point. If you're listening, it's a known thing, and it's exciting because I feel like he might have the year we've been looking for him to have, with the way the defense is set up now. I know that's, you might be not expecting me to say that, but I'm rooting for Tremaine this year. I think he's going to have a good year.
I don't think you're going to
root against the Bills player. Yeah.
But no, I understand what you're saying. Like,
yeah, I'm going to actively root against my favorite team that we also
he's
do a podcast about.
He's got an incentive to play too.
Yeah, actively talking about the Bills, and I'm just rooting against them actively on the podcast.
But,
that's great.
Jaquan Johnson had a nice pick. He's kind of a backup safety. Hamlin, for Poyer and Hyde. Obviously, Poyer banged up, but he's looking all right.
Right. I liked our return game too.
Yeah.
They threw a few guys. I never expected James Cook would be back there.
Neither did I, and he started out the game. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
I think that's him and Shakir. I think those are going to be ways they keep them involved during the game.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
Zach Moss had.
Oh,
yeah. I was very surprised.
Yeah.
When that one run, he got stuffed, and then he bumped out to the side for an extra 15 yards. I was like, that's what we've been waiting for the past couple of years. Where's that been?
Well,
he was more of a fullback in my opinion.
Well, that
than anything.
ankle injury that he suffered against the Colts in that wild card game, that he I don't know if he broke his ankle or had major ligament injury, but then he missed the rest of the year.
So it was a vendetta game. You're saying
maybe, but that he said he wasn't healthy. For training camp the next year, and I think that really messed him up.
He got cleared the couple days before training
messed
camp.
Him up. Yeah. Apparently, he was never fully healthy last year. So I think that's exciting. I take a little bit of that stuff with a slight grain of salt.
So do I.
It's kind of a little bit
excuses.
It's a little bit too with the Boogie stuff that I think we're all a little we need to see Boogie proven in the regular season a little bit, is because it's kind of like the same story you heard about Epinesa, how his first year he just didn't have the body type. But now, he slimmed down, he's faster.
Right.
And you saw it the first couple of weeks, that Miami when he just burnt Austin Jackson. And then afterwards, after week 2 on,
right,
you barely heard his name. So it's kind of like we're a little bit, I don't know, dull or dumbed down to the.
I gotcha. Yeah.
To the Boogie really transformed his body. Whatever. It's kind of okay. That's great.
That's
Took Jerry's
technically.
Number.
Yeah.
That's weird, dude. I'm sorry. I don't like that.
I know. Yeah.
I don't like that. It looks weird.
No, 55 has been Jerry Hughes, and then Hughes Jr. for a little bit for so long. It's just so.
And then 47 for
jarring.
A cornerback number is weird. Benford.
But number 9 for a linebacker and
I never saw those
all that
numbers
stuff ain't
were
weird.
Number 9 is Isaiah McKenzie.
McKenzie's number 6.
Is he actually? He was 19, right? Yeah. I flipped him.
Also, not a fan of 19 for a punter.
I know that was a little jarring, but we know from if you're a longtime listener, episode 1, Mike had a lot to say about single number jerseys and how people play in certain positions and should wear certain numbers.
Agreed with Tom Brady on that take, but
right.
No, I think
Tom Brady.
Overall, I think there's a lot of positives for a lot of players to take away, and it's all about now next week, can they continue? Can they have a good week of practice this week and then continue to build on for the next game? I think we're going to see Elam and Benford again. Kind of just getting a lot of reps. Dane Jackson said it's interesting for people who sat. It seems like their spots have been pretty much secure. So I don't know if they feel like Dane Jackson's going to be at least a starter.
They probably think he'll start until Trey gets back, and then he'll have to battle with Elam there. And I will say, I did get a little concerned when I saw Elam have to go off the field and get evaluated there.
Well, because
I know
it was a pick play.
Yeah.
That should have been, the touchdown should have been overturned. He got picked off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's always a little bit concerning to see who you expect to be a starter go down and then have to get evaluated.
Right.
I mean, he'll be fine.
No,
first week of the preseason.
He was.
But,
I mean, the stops he made. It was pretty good.
He had some moments where he got caught looking in the backfield, got a holding penalty.
But then you see him when he missed the tackles and stuff, sitting on the ground with his head down, and other guys got him up. So he's kicking himself for it. You know what I mean?
He'll be better.
Rookie.
Yeah,
he'll be better.
Exactly.
Benford, they had some legit reps against some legit dudes. Those were the ones the Colts that fourth down where everyone's talking about Tim Settle whooping Quinn Nelson back basically into Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
That rep was 4th and 4, and that ball was thrown, and Michael Pittman was 1 yard off the line of scrimmage against Christian Benford. He gave up no room. And
that's their number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
Now,
So-
I would say Pittman's more of a 2 wide receiver, but
Colts, he's number one.
but that's still I mean, he's that's a 1,000-yard receiver, I think. So that's a legit dude. That's not like some
No, it's not
that's not
just-
some practice squad that all right, whatever. But
a lot of Colts fans have been saying, wait till Jonathan Taylor's in the game, and I'm like,
wait
okay.
till our number 1 defense.
yeah, wait till our first stringers are in the game. Your so-called starting quarterback Matt Ryan got eaten alive by our second string defense. So
yeah, it was definitely a good game. I guess I'm happy they won. I think it's the punting competition, as Mike said. I think it's telling that Ariza got the hold. Was holding the ball at the end.
Yeah.
and the punt is just the punt.
yeah. No one. I've seen it all over TikTok, Instagram, everywhere, and no one can believe that they just that was
they're-
witnessed.
Gonna
Like,
get a lot of popularity. But
yeah.
I think that was for some reason too, which was kind of funny. He has odds to be offensive rookie of the year.
They'd be offensive.
Yeah, he's plus 2 million. I don't know what it is, 200,000 or
Want to place a
something.
bet?
But
We're not of gambling age.
but that was fine to me. But again, after the preseason game, they had to do cuts. The first cuts, they got to get the roster. I believe they were at 93, and then they had to cut down to 85. Currently, what I think is interesting, and we're going to talk about a guy that was cut, but they cut down to 84. So they actually have a spot available to pick someone up, or people have speculated that is Tre'Davious White going to come off. I don't know if it's. I don't think it's Trey White. I think they have a spot open in case someone gets cut that they want to.
Right, that they might. And one thing I want to say about cutting people, the Giants have been taking the scraps, Brian Dable. So
Yeah,
it's
That's going to be the Bills 2.0.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. Red,
The-
white,
you know,
and blue.
It's gonna be
The
like
Carolina-
the Detroit Lions. It's gonna be like the Detroit Lions.
The
with
Carolina
Patriots.
Bills connection is going to be the Bills Giants now.
No, the Giants, I can't even get behind it. Daniel Jones, the picture of Feliciano just dead on the ground. That's the epitome
He's a
of their
bum.
of their entire organization and season.
Yeah, he's
fraudulent.
So we're talking about, obviously we're going to see if they add another person or a trade comes off. It could be interesting. But the person that did get cut, of note, is a certain tight end from a certain university. So we'll turn over to Mike to see who got
Did he even
cut.
play?
No.
Wennemeier, yeah.
Oh, he
He
did.
did play?
Yes, he
He played
did.
like six snaps.
Yeah.
maybe
Oh,
11.
so I didn't even
You didn't
notice
miss much.
Yeah. Fortunate, I was making a case that the Bills should draft him, and then when we got him undrafted, it was pretty hype. He could come back in the practice squad.
Uh-huh.
I'm not ruling that out.
Apparently, the guy that played at Texas A&M just disappeared.
I
Apparently,
guess
he didn't make
so.
a single play in training camp. It's really remarkable. I mean, I don't want to bash the guy too hard because I feel like there might be something,
Else that
so-
another underlying thing,
an
maybe.
underlying thing. But I mean, it's just a really unfortunate. He's obviously a pretty talented player, and for him to just fall from the graces like this, it's sad to see. But we'll still make fun of you for it, Michael, because
Yeah, I'm staying by it. I'll never back out of that.
no,
I would bring him back on the practice squad. Give him a few years.
Well, here's my question, and I know it's really early. You look at a lot of people are saying Keenum will be the one who's sent down to the practice squad out of Barkley,
Probably
Bitcoin
not.
Barkley.
No.
I personally don't agree with that. It's just
he wouldn't make it.
First of all, it's been one
If he
game.
was to go on the practice squad, he'd probably be claimed.
exactly.
And yes, it was one game, and the turnovers were bad,
Well,
but we don't
No.
expect him to
we were
ever play.
our twos were playing against their ones at that point.
Yeah.
And the Bills' offensive line was getting destroyed. By
Yes.
the
Yeah.
starting
Exactly.
defensive line.
And then Barkley comes in and looks phenomenal because he's playing against
He did.
their threes.
Keenum, he did have an overthrow. I think who was he targeting?
No, that was a bad throw.
He
to
overthrew.
Hodgins.
Yeah,
That
he-
one of
someone-
your- Yeah, I know. what you're
someone he overthrew someone early. His first pick, I think.
talking about. Oh, Jameson Carter. Oh,
Yes.
that was another interesting.
he
thing that
overthrew
had to
him. That was a pick. Then the other one,
Yeah.
I think he had was right after we got an interception. He gave it right back.
No,
No,
yeah,
that
it
was-
was.
that was-
Yeah, it was one for one.
Like Hodgins did a back shoulder route. And
Yeah.
threw it was just a
It was
bad
just-
throw.
yeah.
He wasn't even really open. It was bad. That was a
And
bad
then
throw.
Kumaro had the fumble.
Came right to fumble.
So-
And he also got strip sacked, Keenum, so he had 3 turnovers. Yeah, it was a brutal game for him, but I don't think there's anything to be concerned, at least not yet. So,
No, I don't. Barkley is definitely going to be their third stringer.
Yeah.
It's not. It's
Also,
not
I
gonna be
would
Keenum.
I would still say that Crowder is going to make the roster.
I would too. I mean,
It is telling though that he did have to play in the preseason game though. I think that might be just for a reps thing though.
But-
He needed to get some reps in.
yeah. I mean, I guess because you're right. I mean, he's
But
one of
just-
those Peloton
but-
instructors
but
more than
McK-
anything right now.
Mackenzie not playing, being able to sit out. I think that shows that he pretty much has the slot job locked up.
Oh, 100%. How could he not? Look at how he did all of training camp.
I agree.
Yeah. And then Shakir coming in.
Yeah,
Shakir played very well.
Yeah, he averaged about 18.5 yards per
5 for 92.
catch. Yeah, for 92 yards. Yeah, so that's not bad at all.
Man.
What'd you say?
That's a good math.
Thanks, pal.
Did all in his head.
Okay. So we're going to transition from preseason talk. Obviously, they're coming up 8:20. They play 1 o'clock against the Broncos. Maybe, I think, one more side point about the whole Elam and Bedford thing. It might be interesting if Russell Wilson plays. And,
yeah.
The ones with Jerry, Judy, and Cortland Sutton who are also legit.
Do you think Josh will play?
No.
I don't, honestly,
if he plays,
people want him to play, and it's to the point where I'd rather he touches the field in the final preseason game for a total of 3 snaps. And then that's it. You know what I mean? Like that's
honestly,
all he needs.
If he's going to play in any game, he's going to play in this game. There's no way they're going to play him in a road game. That's my opinion.
No way. Mm-hmm.
So either plays in this game or doesn't play at all.
Yeah, right. I forgot that the last one.
I mean, maybe with Dorsey as a new OC, maybe they want to do it like as an actual game scenario. But
yeah,
nah, I wouldn't play it. I wouldn't.
I don't know. All you need is some freak injury to happen. Like look at Zach Wilson. Like he's just running and tweaks his knee, and now he's going to start.
That's also.
But guys, don't worry. Joe Flacco's still starting caliber quarterback.
That's also
according to what's his name.
Robert Saleh.
That's
also not. That wasn't a very intelligent play by Zach Wilson trying to juke a linebacker.
No, he thinks he bagged a mom and then he's all over the place now.
So side note in the preseason, a hot Bills topic that has been said has been obviously the top 100 players, drops. It's usually pretty cool. I think this year has been a little underwhelming.
Bad.
Just because Mike Daniels is talked about every single player.
Yeah, no, I noticed that. I think
it's really annoying.
I only watched the first episode, but it's like Mike Daniels has something to say about everybody. He
doesn't even play anymore.
No.
What?
Yeah.
He's a free agent.
Yeah.
It's like what? They just give him a script or something?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know.
He's got a live teleprompter behind him.
I haven't been too much of a fan of this.
The thing of note is there's only been one Bill, which was Von Miller at 93.
So this probably means Hyde and Poyer aren't even on the list.
No, that's what I was just about to say.
I think Poyer is on the list because I think there was a clip released a couple weeks ago of Josh Allen talking about him being the center field of the defense or something like that. I think one of them is on the list. Top 50. But then
we're getting to the point now where it's iffy though.
Might be a second Bill. 90 was Odell Beckham Jr.
Oh yeah.
Which again, I think that is complete. That just shows you a little bit how fraudulent the list is.
Mac Jones was 85.
But here's the thing. It's not statistical. It's player vote.
This is why you have to
that's
take
what it is.
You take everything with a grain of salt. One, OBJ should not have been 90 because
that playoff run he made.
He made a nice playoff run.
Yeah.
But there was a stat where in 8 games he caught 27 passes. It's all right, that's just over 3 catches. That's not 90.
Yeah. No. Well, that was when his daddy, made the tape.
No, that was with the Rams.
It was with the Rams.
Yeah. Well, then
what was he averaging before that? Probably one catch per 8 games or something.
Probably around 3. That's where popularity happens. Von Miller at 93 should be higher, but whatever. And then Mac making lists, and I'm gonna say this. I'm probably gonna get some hate from the Bills fans, but it just I don't know how much as Bills fans we can really complain because Josh Allen after his second year is ranked 87th, and he wasn't the 87th best player. After 2019.
Yeah,
he just had the physicality and big plays, hurdling defenders and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That's what made that. And Mac Jones honestly getting the team to the playoffs. I agree with you.
I think, yeah. Well,
player votes. It's not. It's like the Pro Bowl almost.
It's also important to realize that the lists are players' top 20 players list. It's not like they do 100 players; they do 20.
No,
yeah.
So it's probably
an average.
It's probably his teammates all putting him him in their top 20s, and then
the entirety of the New England Patriots. Yeah,
yeah, and that's 53 dudes. That's it's unfortunate, but. It's really just
something for fun. We shouldn't take it.
No, you shouldn't take it serious. Honestly, the list for me is more
fun.
Seeing who people think are the top 10, 20 guys because I think that's more of a consensus kind of because that's what you have the top 20 list. That's more of a consensus. What really people think of you outside of your organization. So again, that's kind of a small topic.
Do you think? I think we talked about this. I mean, do you see Allen still making top 5?
No,
top 10.
I think he should be top 10, but from every list I don't know if it's just me, from every list that's been leaked, I haven't seen Josh Allen in their top 20s.
Okay, why on one of the lists is Trayvon Diggs top 10?
Because he had picks.
Because remember, the NFC is relatable to the USFL, so I mean that's
Trayvon Diggs is not a top 10 player.
No.
Yeah, I know.
He's not even like you
You
could
think
argue
Mac
he's
Jo-
not
you think
even top 5 corner.
Do you think Mac Jones is a top 20 player?
top 20 quarterback?
Top
Or
20 player.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, well, that's how much the people. I'm telling you, there's a
No,
top
I
20
know,
list.
I know what you're
That's what
saying.
I'm like,
I know
no,
what you're saying. Because
yeah.
like they show the previews and like they show lists, and then you'll see some of the names, and it's like I think one of them had like Trayvon Diggs over Aaron Donald.
No, I didn't see that.
How is that possible?
That is.
Aaron Donald.
It's like putting
probably
Dak
the best
Prescott
player in
up
the
on your
game.
list. Yeah.
If I had to say,
Well, when you're on your team, like Don was saying, you're gonna vote. You know what I mean? Like, oh, my
Yeah,
quarterback.
But Aaron Donald is like the most
league
dominant
talent.
player in the game. Like, I don't
at least
know.
have him as the best non-quarterback. I don't know. It's an interesting list per se at the end. It's gonna be an interesting list at the end because Allen was 10 last year. Maybe he rises
bumped up. I think that playoff game might bump him a little bit. That showing when he and honestly, Tampa Bay on last season, taking the game into his hands and basically, you know what I mean? Like he's definitely, I think he's up a little more. Top 10, I don't think top 5 though.
Probably like 7. Mm-hmm. If I had to put a spot, like a bet spot, I would say 7. Maybe
Right.
8.
6.5.
He's still, isn't he still leader in all rushing touchdowns too for quarterbacks?
Since he's come into the league, I
Yeah,
think, yeah.
more than Lamar Jackson, more
He
than
had 31. He had
yeah.
10 more than Newton. He's
yeah,
second.
10 more than Newton, and Jackson and Newton are tied
Yeah.
at 21.
Yeah. So okay, final topic for the Bills. You know, we've kind of been ranking certain Bills via the position in the division, and we have now stuck on cornerback
Starters.
number 1 corners
Yes.
on your team, and obviously the number 1 corner for the Bills is Trey White. I know Terry's ACL, but he will be the number 1 corner for the Bills. So I think this is an interesting. It would be interesting if we did this a year ago because J.C. Jackson was in the division,
Right, yeah, it'd be a little.
But now with the Patriots moving on from him and kind of just having like Jalen Mills or like number 1 by committee, I think they're easily last.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Patriots on bottom.
Well, if you say you're saying Sauce Gardner's for the Jets,
Yeah,
you could argue that just because he's never played.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what
he's
like.
3.
Yeah.
He's 3. I think he's good though.
Patriots, Jets, Dolphins, Bills.
So you're gonna put Trey over Xavier Howard?
I would.
I would.
You wouldn't?
I don't think I would.
Why?
I think it's close. I don't know. I think they're both like that top 5. Like they're tier 2 cornerbacks. Like I don't think they're tier 1.
Yeah.
So I think it's close, but Howard also was able to stay healthy all last year, and he also had a very good year the previous. I think he had a better year the previous year than White did too. But then
Right.
Trey did. I'll give Trey the credit of in 2019 he was better because he was a first team All Pro.
Yeah.
But I think Howard was better in 20, even though Trey was good too. And then I think last year Trey was kind of had a little bit of a down year, and he also got hurt. So I don't know if you could. Say
Yeah,
which one.
no, that's kind of why I was like, I mean, I would still put him at 1, just because.
No, talking it through. I'm putting Trey too. I can't be biased. I got to be better.
I think
Okay.
this.
I can't listen. Listen, I can't be those Patriots players putting Mac Jones in their top 20 players. Like I gotta.
Oh my
I
gosh.
got a reputation to uphold.
No, I just think I would still put him at 1. This is a preemptive thing. I think this season when he's healthy, it's gonna be like
Sure.
2019 first team All Pro.
All right.
That's what I
Comeback
say.
player of the year.
Oh yeah. That's it.
Okay, can I just say I think it's ridiculous when I've seen things saying Travis Etienne is gonna be the comeback player of the year
What?
because he's never played. He missed his entire rookie year. How could you be comeback player of the year if you've
He
never
also
played?
played-
Because technically he was on a team.
But he
But
didn't
that's
play.
absolutely that's so
it's also-
stupid.
It's also for dudes that were.
That's like saying
I feel
if
like it's for dudes that were really good, missed the season basically by injury, and then came back.
Did Joe Burrow win comeback player of the year?
no.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would be
Did
on.
he?
I'm not even supporting that. He played 10
that'd be
games.
like me stop swimming in high
Yeah,
school
I think
and
10
then
games-
coming back in my senior year
Nah,
of
I
college
think 10
saying I'm a
games-
comeback
I think
player.
If you play 10 games and he played 10 good games, that's good enough.
I don't know. I don't know.
I agree if he's on the ETN though. Him not playing and then him coming back is kind of weird. I don't know.
It's just weird for
I
a
guess
rookie
it's
to get hurt and then come
I
back
guess
and they're
it's
the comeback player of the year.
I guess it's comeback in that he missed season and he's came back. I guess it's not like you.
He never touched the field.
It's not, but it's not like the requirement of like you had to be good. Then I mean,
From my vantage point,
Okay,
I think it should be
this is why some voting is. This is
this.
why
From my
voters
vantage point, it should
voters
be
vote different.
you were established, and you got hurt, and you came back from that.
and you reestablished to
Yes.
become even greater.
That's what comeback
Adrian
player of the year
Peterson.
means. Okay,
He did. He
you're not wrong. He
Yeah, you're not-
destroyed his
yeah.
knee,
Destroyed
came
his-
back to run 2,000 yards.
and when MVP now, terrible
Yes.
person, but like
Yes.
that's the example.
Wasn't he a wife beater or something?
Child.
Oh, that's even worse. Yeah, we're gonna skip around that. And on that note, we're gonna end the Bills section of the podcast. We'll be right back with the Sabres right after this. Are you excited for football season? Well, we sure are, because with football season comes season 2 of the Buffalonian podcast. Staying on our normal day with 2 episodes a week, we will have the Buffalonian podcast every Tuesday or Wednesday, and then every Thursday, depending on if there's a Thursday night game, or Friday, we will have the Betting on the Bills podcast, which is completely Bills-centric, all Buffalo Bills, and we'll be talking a little bit broad NFL. We'll be picking games and, giving our opinions on who's winning, and it'll be interesting, and we'll be also coming at you with some video, too, on our YouTube channel, which will be linked in our bio on our social medias very soon. So we're very much looking forward to it. It's very exciting, but yeah, season 2 will be coming at you this September. So without further ado, enjoy the rest of the show.
We are back with the Buffalo podcast, and we are, as always, transitioning from our Bills talk to our Sabres talk of the week. Actually, as Joe said in the intro, some actual news, legit news to talk about. Always exciting to see that. There was a signing. Riley Sheehan, a familiar face, returns to the organization after having a year-long hiatus with Seattle.
Yeah, I just say, does this alter anybody's fourth line projection?
No.
No?
You know what this is? I was thinking about this, when they signed him. One, he's actually a very good defensive centerman. He was very good in Buffalo, and he was actually pretty solid again, last year in Seattle. So this is actually a pretty interesting signing. It's interesting that it's a two-way deal, so there must not have been a lot of interest from other teams. Obviously, two-way doesn't. If they waived him, I think you could still get claimed. Two-way is just you get a different salary if you're in the AHL than you are in the NHL. So I think what's interesting about that is I feel like maybe they have him kind of take the Mark Jankowski role of being like the first line center in Rochester.
Yeah.
And then being like the call up, if they need a centerman, because if they want to, try out Krebs and Milstead and have Cousins and Thompson, but then all of a sudden one of, Krebs and Milstead, isn't doing it and struggling center, they have, a legit guy in Sheehan that can play, NHL minutes as a centerman, and maybe they don't have to move over like Aspen or Gergensons.
Yeah.
So I think that's more the move. It's more depth signing, but I think it's interesting because he can also win a spot. Like this is a dude that's good enough to, if he plays.
Former first round pick.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I
didn't know that.
Former first round pick.
Very interesting.
By who?
Yeah, what team?
He got traded. Didn't
Pittsburgh.
He got traded to
Either Pittsburgh or Detroit.
Yeah, it was one of those teams. He got traded to Pittsburgh or Florida. One of those. He was in like a trade.
He's bounced around. Maybe Edmonton. He's played in Edmonton, I think.
Probably actually now that I think about it, I think it was Edmonton.
I don't know.
But yeah, obviously he's bounced around, but he's a guy that I think can win a spot.
Veteran,
fourth line center. He could
older guy. He's 30 already. He'll be turning 31.
Yeah, obviously he likes what we're building here, and he wanted to come back. I think that tells a lot about the organization. So it's another guy that could possibly potentially be a fourth line center / one first line center at Rochester.
Yeah, you're right. And it's nice to have someone who actually wants to be here. The Sabres are still on a lot of people's no trade lists. You know what I mean? So
absolutely,
that's a few years it won't be.
No, you got to give it a few years, but it's nice to finally.
Just like the Bills. Like who would have thought a few years ago Von Miller would want to come to Buffalo
and
apparently want to
recruit Odell Beckham.
Oh yeah, and Odell Beckham being interested in showing his face here.
No, he did want to be drafted here. That was an interesting point.
Yeah. He was originally thinking the Bills were going to draft him, and he was like excited for it, but that never happened.
Well, because he got drafted second on the third overall, we selected a guy named Marcel Darius.
One year wonder.
Yep, big guy.
And cashed in. Good for him.
Yeah.
No, but talking back on the
sorry,
wrong sport.
Wrong sport. Back on the Sabres talk, though, it is nice to see someone come back, and another solid signing, a guy that's not gonna light the world on fire, not gonna really probably block any of your young guys, but a guy that's gonna be there in case one of them fails.
Yeah,
I think, a safety net for your season.
It's almost like Craig Anderson being signed as a backup goalie.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's also nice because, I think he could really help Rochester. You're going to have a lot of young guys down there. Rosine, I think Kulich is going to maybe possibly down there. Kisakov, he got his...
Wait, so you said he's got a one-way thing where he's getting paid the same amount in Rochester as he would in Buffalo?
No, so that's a one-way contract.
He's got a two-way.
A two-way contract is like So it was a 1-year, 2-way deal of $950,000. I think that's the minimum. I mean, 900 might be the minimum, but whatever. So if he was playing in Buffalo, if he earns a spot and he's on Buffalo, he'll be making salary based off $950,000. But if he's like doesn't make it out of camp and you go plays in Rochester, he probably make like 475, like half.
Oh,
that.
okay.
Like that's the thing, and that's another thing that was being talked about Luukkonen, is that he's an RFA, and all the RFA cases has really been signed, but people are speculating. It's not, it's speculation, but that the Sabres would like him to take a 2-way contract instead of a 1-way contract, because it's just maybe they want him, if he goes to Rochester, they don't want him to make as much money. It's kind of a cheap thing, but
right.
I think that again, that's a kind of an interesting point that's been made out. So
it's interesting that they're doing that because they do have so much cap space. You know what I mean?
They're
They're like
interesting.
cutting his pay in half if he doesn't play for him.
Yeah, but again, that's why I think it might be a little bit of a silly thing to be arguing over. But at the same time, like he might be in Rochester all year long.
Right? Yeah, you never know.
I don't know. So again, interesting signing. Glad that we had some news.
Yeah, I saw it pop up on my feed. I was like, "That's podcast news. Let's go."
Other podcast news. So as I talked about Alexander Kisakov, the Russian forward, his visa situation did get okay. So he's actually now in the country, and
he'll be here for training camp.
He'll be in here for training camp. He's not going to win a spot, I don't think.
No, he'll be probably top 6 forward in Rochester.
Top 6 forward in Rochester. And again, if you're going to have Isaac Rosén, who's having really good World Juniors for Sweden, he'll get some legit playing time. Hopefully, if he comes over, I think he really should, because he needs playing time. The last 2 years, he hasn't been getting enough playing time. Come to Rochester, they'll give you the playing time. He might not have great success at Rochester.
No rush, man.
But find
your game.
Yeah, let's get you in here. Let's find the game. Let's get some playing time. That would be important. So Kisakov, Rosén, Kulich, he was pretty solid for Czechia. Obviously, they got eliminated, but he was solid as well. Another guy that could, play in Rochester, and then
yeah, he said he wanted to play day 1 in the NHL. Felt like he could do it.
Listen, he can compete for a spot, and he could play in Rochester. That's another guy. And if you have Sheehan down there, Sean Malone's solid, Brett Murray's pretty solid. It's a pretty solid forward group at that point.
Yeah.
And that they've also in Rochester added, legit guys that could potentially play in the NHL, have rebuilt the defense core, in Rochester. Also, potentially Larry Pilot returning.
Yeah.
Rochester, and if UPL's down there, Rochester should be pretty decent.
Yeah.
No, I highly suggest
might
going
be
to
able to overtake the 3 triple OT.
I know. I highly suggest if any Buffalonian in the area, I'd highly suggest taking the drive out there to Rochester. It's a pretty, it's a smaller arena, but it's a pretty cool.
Right.
To see the prospects.
Yeah, and even as Mike says, get those Torontonians down here too. Making it all inclusive.
Yeah. Okay.
That's pretty cool. It's another bit of news that I think we've all been waiting for this to be official. We talked about it a little bit last pop, but Ryan Johnson officially returned to the University of Minnesota.
I don't think that's too surprising, honestly.
I don't think it's too surprising. It's in March. Wow.
Were we talking about how that was like probably what was going to happen, or like? I think I asked you, what are the odds he signs here?
In my opinion, this probably means...
I said 50-50 because that's what a lot of media people say. I think that's got to decrease. And I don't know. It just comes down to, I feel like...
We lost the coin toss.
I feel like, yeah.
Well, if he doesn't sign at the end of the year, it's not July 1st he'll leave. It'll be like...
Middle of August.
Yeah. Kind of like when we got Jimmy Vesey.
So the fact is, with him, is that if he leaves... The Sabres will get, I believe, the 65th overall pick in the 24 draft. And at this point, I don't think there's any reason to trade him because there's no way you're going to get that value if you trade him.
No.
And it's unfortunate. I feel like if he's not going to sign Buffalo, he's probably going to go to the Kings. I think his dad works for the Kings. Also, the Kings...
Following Cal Peterson's footsteps?
Yeah, the Kings also don't have a lot of left shot D-man. I think he'd be like the second best. So, again, opportunity as well.
Right.
I think it's interesting what's going to happen to Portillo because I think Portillo is another guy that I think is gone. I think he'll be an interesting case because if he doesn't have a specific spot to go, I think the Sabres can trade him to some place. Because I think, one, there'd be teams interested in because he's a top 10 goalie prospect. And, like, if Kevin Adams, says, obviously this isn't going to work out because we have Levi, can you give me a couple teams that you'd be willing to sign for? And if he gives you 3 or 4 teams, really all Kevin Adams has to do is, go to those teams who probably need a goalie prospect and calls them and go, hey, I got Portillo here. He'd be willing to sign with you if we trade him to you, but we have 3 or 4 other teams interested, so I do need an offer.
Yeah,
right.
That's a way to at least recoup some draft capital out of moving him.
Right.
Yeah.
Johnson is just take the second round pick. Portillo, I mean, even if it's a 6th or 5th round pick, like I feel like there's a way to kind of, if he doesn't have a specific spot he's going, if he's set on, if he has a couple teams like, hey, they like 5 teams don't have good goalie prospects, this is where I want to go with. Then you make a call to all 5 of those teams, even if 2 or 3 of them are interested, then you just, I'm your highest bidder at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But no, so I mean, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate to lose prospects after you take so much time in developing them.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because then it's like, what did you even wait? You waste that
like
time's wasted, and you're not getting it back. You know.
We'll never know what happened. I feel like it's a little bit on Adams. Adams is an incredibly patient general manager, but to me, I mean, he might be either taking a huge gamble here, or he knows something. I just feel like he kind of misplayed this a little bit. If Johnson's really gonna leave, then you couldn't have moved him earlier, like a couple years ago when he probably had probably up there with the 2nd round draft. I don't know. I just wasting those years of waiting for him is kind of annoying, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's okay. So that was that was kind of our news.
Yeah.
Well, a little bit of news. I do want to touch on 2 things really quickly. One, the embedded that popped up.
Yeah.
There's a draft embedded. I'll let Mike go in more deeply, but very good. Highly recommend if you're a Sabres fan or just a Buffalonian fan trying to get into Sabres.
Right.
Really interesting.
Yeah, so, if you don't know what it is, they do it with the Sabres. They also do it with the Bills. Embedded. It was basically a look behind the scenes of the first round of the past draft up in Montreal. And I thought it was kind of interesting because you see, like, they showed a clip of Matt Savoy in the pre-draft process, like, interviewing with the Sabres. And, like, they were asking him questions. And, you got to see what he said. And then you got to see his pre-draft interview, like, what he thought of the Sabres.
What did he draft? Did you catch that? Like, what was it?
No, he was saying really good things. Like, he was saying like how he thinks the team is on the up, and like it'd be really cool to be a piece here. And we saw the pick. We saw kind of like afterwards him getting his jersey, walking around. Yeah. We saw a little clip when we drafted Ostlund. Savoy went up to him and was like, "Yo, I'm really looking forward to being teammates with you. Let's get to work."
Aw.
I think the best part probably was you see, obviously we draft Yuri Kulich 28th.
Mm-hmm.
They showed Kevin Adams trying to aggressively trade up to even 17 to try and get Kulich, and that
they had those 2 prospects.
Yeah, they talked with 6 other teams just to try and trade up. Like, they show a clip. He's on the phone with Terry Pegula, like, I think we're really going to try and aggressively trade up for this prospect. This is a guy we really want. And he falls to 28. So we didn't have to trade up at all. And we still get the player we wanted.
Look at that.
And, I mean...
Well, I think it probably makes, Kulich, like, was he expecting to go that high? Like, up higher?
Mid-first? Probably not.
I feel like him and Austin were kind of both like 20, like really early, maybe late teens kind of guys.
Yeah.
But those guys are both like legit prospects. Like those are good picks. Both were. I think.
Like we said in the draft recap, they had a great draft.
I also think it was interesting, when you look back at that embedded too, how much emphasis he also put on 41 being an important pick.
Yeah. When he was getting interviewed about that.
I mean, whatever. I don't love that pick with letting in the goalie, but I think that was kind of a bad pick. But
yeah, what are you gonna do now?
That seems just kind of like a need pick. Like they thought they needed
a goalie
in the organization to start developing again because they're gonna lose Portillo. They're gonna Levi's, couple years, maybe 2 years away from NHL.
Yeah, and Anderson's not a viable starter.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean that was kind of that was interesting per se. I thought it was interesting that he was having conversations with Terry Pegula.
I remember. I don't remember if it was the Austin pick or the Coolidge pick, but when they walked up on stage and Gary Bettman shook his hand, he's like, Gary Bettman said, "This might be the steal pick of the draft."
No. You know what he said? He said the media is telling me that you guys are stealing the first round.
Yeah.
Something like that. But that was a cool moment.
Yeah, that's
cool.
Awesome.
I'm not a big Gary Bettman fan, but
I've seen the couple embeddeds for the Bills.
Yeah, they're good too.
They're good.
Mm-hmm. I always liked the Sabres beyond blue and gold. Yeah. Those were good.
My only complaint about the embed for the Sabres is that it was only 11 minutes long. I feel like they could have with 3 first-round picks. Even, talking off air, I'm going to steal what you said, but, having it be a whole draft thing, because, they did have, they put a lot of emphasis on 41.
They had, 6 more rounds.
Yeah, they made a couple nice picks.
Right.
I just think they could have made it maybe a bigger thing, but who knows? Maybe another clip's going to come out, so.
Right.
Yeah, it's very cool to see, behind the scenes of what your organization is thinking. I think it was cool too, the fact of how they Adams seems like a guy that will take what the scouts say, takes what the analytics guys say, and like make sure they're all on the same page of like,
Yeah.
hey, is everything okay? Everyone okay with this? Like, he's not.
I think before one of the picks, he was going around making sure everybody agreed with the pick.
Because like Adams just seems not to be like one. He seems like one of those guys. It's not like, all right, I'm just gonna make this pick. Like I'm the GM. Like,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
that guy.
I'm that guy.
Yeah. You're not that guy, pal.
Yeah. It's like some guys saying player A, some guys the other analysts saying player B. It's like honestly, I'm taking player C. Like he's not one of those guys. I think also there's like a disagreement between them. Like he wants to understand like both sides of the perspective and then makes the best decision. He thinks.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I mean,
it's what you want in a general manager.
He's the guy that's paid the big bucks to make the decisions. So
right.
It's his. No one's gonna look back at this job and be like, wow. Sam Ventura, the analyst guy, really abolishes. No, it'll be Kevin Adams. It'll be a Buffalonian segment about Kevin Adams. So
we'll do our own version of Embedded just with Kevin Adams, though. Yeah.
Definitely.
Give him a call.
Yeah, give him a call.
So that was cool to see. Hopefully, there's some more Embedded coming up. Obviously, the Sabres training camp's coming up, I believe, in close to a month. So that's pretty exciting.
Right.
Obviously, in about a month, actually.
Dead on
pretty much is the Prospects Challenge. So, if you guys didn't know, starting back 2015, there's, games where other teams' prospects play each other. Not sometimes all the top prospects play each other, but this year, it's cool. It's in Harbor Center.
It's expanded, too.
There's 6 teams, I believe. So there's Buffalo, Boston, Ottawa, Pittsburgh, New Jersey, and Montreal. It's from, September 15th to September 19th, so nice little 5-day, I believe, little adventure, and there's a lot of top prospects that could be at the game. And obviously, with the Sabres having arguably the number 1 prospect pool, obviously the Canadians.
Arguably,
okay,
it's been put out there. It's the number 1.
Yeah, and the Canadians building theirs up. The Devils have a pretty good one. The
Devils are fraudulent, though.
The Senators should have a good one, but they make terrible selections. And then Pittsburgh really doesn't. Pittsburgh and Boston are both kind of teams that have below average. But Mike, you could who are the top prospects you're looking for?
I guess
seeing?
if you were to go watch this, you'd be like, who do I really want to look for? Like who am I hoping to see in this that's an effective player 10 years from now? Mm-hmm. You would think probably Juraj Slavkovsky. You'd think probably Simon Nemec. You'd probably think if Alex Holtz is still there, if Owen Power decides he still wants to be there. Well, if the Sabres make that decision, I should say. I feel like Fabian Lysell would be one.
First round pick for the Bruins.
Jake Sanderson would probably be one.
Ottawa's defenseman.
Yeah, so like there's some notable guys.
Yeah, obviously the top 2 picks, Slavkovsky for the Canadians and then Nemec for the Devils might play, so that's pretty cool.
So I mean
Pittsburgh has no one, but
they're relying on the old guard. Run it back. No, Boston is the team that's gonna last dance.
Yeah,
Bergeron 1-year deal, Krejci 1-year deal, Pasternak 1-year deal.
We're talking about the Bruins in a little bit, so that's part of our segment. Coming down,
getting ahead of myself.
A little ahead of yourself, but again, I think it's a great opportunity to see where the Sabres prospects, see the Sabres prospects in action. Obviously, if you didn't see them during development camp, it's another great opportunity to see them. It's also cool to see them in game action against other prospects. And I think it should be a fun time. And if you have the time, I definitely would recommend going up for a game. Obviously, they have some kind of fan fest too, I believe. So
I'll say this: if you do go to Harbor Center, just be careful not to get lost in the stairwell.
Yeah, it is really important.
First-hand experience.
Apparently that's been a big issue. So I was not there, so I don't know, but it's been said many times.
Okay, no, we went up the right. No. This is the thing. We went up the right stairwell. It was just locked. So then we had to go up a different one.
I would just say
and then we cut through like their training part.
This is my suggestion. Just use the elevator. Like,
no, do you remember that though? Like when we went up,
dude, we thought we
cut through like the gym.
Yes,
there was like people training in there.
Yes.
It was like the middle of a session. We're just walking through.
Oh my god!
It's kind of funny.
wasn't the most comfortable situation.
It's kind of funny.
And then we listen. It's been amazing to see how much the prospect pool changed for the Sabres since then. So again, it would be cool. It's cool to see them. I'd highly recommend attending a game, and especially the Sabres playing against some of these guys like the Canadians. Slavkovsky is the number 1 overall pick. Maybe you get to see Yuri Kulich, the 20th overall pick. I'll play him. So that'd be kind of funny to see. So, and of course, they have some kind of fan fest. Sabres always kind of do a decent at least a somewhat decent job of doing something for the fans.
I feel like all Buffalo does that pretty well.
Bills,
you know?
it's a pretty good. I mean, especially when you're a small market, you got to somehow treat your fans.
Yeah, you got a point. Football's a bigger market around here than hockey, no question.
You
think?
Okay, Kim Pagula.
Yeah.
Do you think?
I don't think so, dude.
Buffalo is a hockey town.
I think Buffalo is a hockey town. It's just hidden because
the Bills are so good.
Do you
and the Sabres are
Do you
bad.
think Bills Mafia is lesser than Sabres?
Okay, I think the Bills Mafia is a more outside Buffalo, common thing.
Nationwide thing.
I think if we're talking, I don't know, dude. When we were younger, Bills games used to get blacked out.
Yeah, because the Bills suck. It's like the Sabres games.
This is the same thing with the Sabres.
The 50-50 only got up to $2,000 in one of the games we went to.
But it's the same thing with the Sabres.
No, this
Like, if
is
the Sabres
definitely a
were good,
hockey town.
I think if the Sabres were good, I think you'd see.
Think about all the junior teams
The
here,
ratings
the
too.
tournaments.
Yeah.
We had the combine here.
The TV
World
ratings.
Juniors have been here.
Mm-hmm.
College has been here. Frozen Four.
TV ratings for the Stanley Cup have always been good in Buffalo, even though Buffalo's not even sniffed at the Stanley Cup final in 15 years.
Plus, we have the Canadian market right there.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Like-
I understand what you're saying though. I think more of a worldwide phenomenon.
Football is number
Worldwide,
one,
it's just the USA.
just in general.
Yeah.
But like, if Buffalo, I had to define it as one sport, I would
If
say
they
hockey.
get out of the back cave and get to the playoffs, I think you'll see
Right.
the Plaza.
Yeah.
The French Connection
when
Plaza.
they went on the
Yeah.
Stanley Cup run, or not even the Eastern Conference Final run, when they were 05-06, even the Beyond Blue and Gold, gotta watch it. they're playing cards, and it's Biron, McKee, Briere, and Dumont talking about that playoff run.
Right.
Excellent. I recommend it. Very, very good.
I'll watch it and I'll let you know what I think.
They're like, the building's literally shaking,
Is it
rocking.
on YouTube? Can I find it
Yeah.
there?
Yeah. It's all on YouTube.
Look it up.
All right,
Beyond-
all right. I'll look on YouTube.
Beyond Blue
YouTube
and Gold.
binge. That's
A
your
nice
job.
YouTube binge.
That's your job for.
Absolutely electric
Effort.
video. I love that clip.
It's good. Some good stuff.
Probably 20-something minutes.
I understand what you're saying though. It's definitely for right now. I would say it's a football town, but it's really good when both teams are good. I think you're gonna see that the Sabre hockey is really gonna come up. But talking about our segments and stuff. Last off of your forward line, fourth line, the grinder line normally, but so it's a little different this year with the Sabres because obviously with so many question marks, it's really just gonna be four lines of just one top line and then four lines competing against each other. And obviously after this segment, we're gonna have all of our forward lines completed, and then we'll move on to the defense. But this being the season 1 finale, we're gonna take a little break, and then we'll move back into the defense pairings for starting season 2 off.
Yeah,
and
kick it off.
Goalie tandem, and then after that, when we have our teams assembled, we're gonna see which team we feel better fits with each other, and should be a fun time. So again, that's a little bit of a look in the future moment. But as we're talking about the fourth line,
Nice little 2-week hiatus, and then
Yeah.
you get the defensive pairings.
Listen, we're gonna put a lot of thought into the defensive pairings, Dylan. We gotta look at all the stats. We're gonna watch game footage. Joe's gonna look at the blue and beyond.
Yeah, blue and gold.
Beyond Blue and Gold.
That's
Okay,
what it
good
is.
try.
I almost listen.
Good attempt.
Thank
Blue
you,
and Beyond's a
thank you.
Smurf documentary. Come on.
What?
I'm kidding.
All right, Mike, start us off for your fourth line, big guy.
All right, so my fourth line starts with a rookie, JJ Peterka. I got Gergensons
Center.
at center, Vinny Hinostroza at the other wing, Casey Middlestat, 13th forward. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
I'm sorry, the silence was legit there. It's so
No.
Yeah,
I have
Dom,
Casey
Dom
Middlestat.
and I kind of looked at each
I
other
have him
for a
rotating
second.
in.
I honestly, I respect it.
I do
I'll
too.
be honest. I respect it.
Anders Bjork,
Casey-
14th forward.
I have.
Riley Sheehan, 15th forward.
Riley Sheehan, 15th. No. Riley Sheehan, 14th forward. Anders Bjork, 15th
Oh my
forward.
gosh.
I really respect it. I'm going to be honest, because I think Middlestat, I've said this throughout the offseason.
Did I have I think I had Middlestat on the third line last
Yeah,
week.
I had him too as a third line. I don't count third. I'm not really
But it's
third
do or
line, so-
die. That's where they did, because we were talking about do or
but
die.
I think that's where my vibe would be, that they wouldn't scratch him right away, because it is kind of like they got to figure out, or they can move him or do something. But I honestly respect it, because I think Middlestat's a below average player right now.
Yeah.
And I've been saying for months that they should look to move Middlestat, because they don't have a lot of roster spots, and he seems like the candidate to be moved. But
Right.
I feel like they're gonna make him find a way in the lineup in the first place and see if he fails or not. But I mean, I respect
Do or die.
I respect.
It's do or die.
I gotta respect the already putting him. I guess that's why they signed him as Rosa to put Middlestat on the shelf.
Hey, points per 60. Vinny Hinestroza comparable to John Tavares.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, shake your head over there.
I respect you putting Middlestead there. My fourth line is Gergensons, Krebs, Quinn. Obviously, Krebs and Quinn played very well together in Rochester. Gergensons is kind of just that defensive forward to kind of make up for whatever Krebs and Quinn deficiencies in that zone. So I think mine's more like balanced based on that aspect. But what was yours, Joe?
I had Gergensons, Sheehan, and Peterka.
What a guy. You put Sheehan in.
Yeah, wow.
I know. I said in the beginning, Mike asked if anything changed, but it did change, and I said no. So
you're really debating over that.
I was going to throw Bjork in there, but that wasn't the move. So.
Okay.
Good, the good thing is, good thing you wrote your lines in pencil so you could go over it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, good for you. I think easily. I can't believe Mike just healthy scratched Middlestead. I think that's completely savage.
Yeah.
Was that your mindset the entire
100%?
We saw this a couple weeks ago.
No, I'm not even lying. From day one, I said Casey Middlestead's my 13th forward.
That is big baller bean. That's the kind of move for you right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I respect it. All right, so let's transition to our last little segment of Sabres talking about the Atlantic teams. If they got better, worse, stayed the same. Or this week, we're talking about the Boston Bruins. Obviously, Mike spoiled a little bit of it during the Prospect Challenge.
Yeah.
That mostly they did kind of just in-house stuff. They re-signed Patrice Bergeron. They brought back Derek Krejci after his year hiatus, like Riley Sheehan. Fun fact.
Okay. At least Riley Sheehan was still in the NHL.
That's true. And then they traded for Pavel Zacha, who's kind of like a third liner. So they traded for a third liner.
And they're just an old man organization right now.
Yep, they traded. So they re-signed their first line center, who's still very good.
I'll just interrupt you real quick. I just want to present a situation.
Rude. I know.
Do you think that team's gonna have Linus Ullmark as their starter, or are they gonna go with Jeremy
I think it's
Swayman?
a tandem.
They're really just gonna. You think it's a 50-50 split?
Yeah, between him and Swayman. Yeah.
Okay.
They're gonna have a tandem. Obviously, then Krejci's kind of really probably more of a third line center, but he'll play probably second line center. They still have Taylor Call, everyone's favorite ex-Sabre. Obviously, they're down Brad Marchand and Charlie McAvoy. They're probably their best overall. Their top two players are out for the first couple months of the year. So
could bring back Chara.
Could bring back Char. The last dance. We're gonna have
bring back the captain.
The video recording of what's gonna happen. I think they're still gonna make the playoffs. I think they're gonna get all their horses together and they're gonna make a run at the second half. But they could struggle in the first half. They're gonna be better than the Sabres. I don't know. That's kind of like the Bruins are just a team that this is their last leg. I think when we talked about the Sabres as being a team that is waiting for the proper moment to strike.
Now
they're
waiting. They're perking up.
Because after this year, I think the Bruins are done, and that's when they're gonna
Bergeron's gonna retire. Krejci's gonna retire. Pasternak's gonna become a free agent.
Yeah, this is it. This is their last dance, and this is why the Sabres waited instead of the Senators and Red Wings who went for it. Maybe because they think that they can beat out the Bruins, but I don't think the Sabres would have if they went for it. So good for the Sabres. Hopefully, this is the last year of them not really going for it. And again, another team in the East. Kind of like Pittsburgh and Washington, an older team that might be on its way to a full rebuild mode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And then that leaves room for us to take the cake.
Take a spot.
Couldn't say it better myself. So that'll be the end of our Sabres talk segment.
Final one of season one.
Yep. Last one of season one. We'll go down for the final time down the rundown.
Are you excited for football season? Well, we sure are, because with football season comes season 2 of the Buffalonian podcast. Staying on our normal day with 2 episodes a week, we will have the Buffalonian podcast every Tuesday or Wednesday, and then every Thursday, depending on if there's a Thursday night game or Friday, we will have the Betting on the Bills podcast, which is completely Bills-centric, all Buffalo Bills, and we'll be talking a little bit broad NFL. We'll be picking games and, giving our opinions on who's winning. And it'll be interesting. And we'll be also coming at you with some video, too, on our YouTube channel, which will be linked in our bio on our social medias very soon. So we're very much looking forward to it. It's very exciting. But, yeah, Season 2 will be coming at you this September. So without further ado, enjoy the rest of the show. We are back with the Buffalonian podcast and the rundown. So we're going to start it off with the Blue Jays. The Jays had a fantastic week, going 1-5 in 6 games. So, that was
Better than your Yankees, right?
Let's just leave the Yankees and the peanut gallery out of this rundown, please, and thank you. So we're gonna continue with the Blue Jays. They lost the weekend series against the Guardians, and they also lost both games in their weekday series against the Orioles. The third game was rained out. So the Jays are currently playing a home series against those pesky Orioles and dropped the opening game 7-3. It's tough. There's no other way to put that than tough. So the Jays finish the series in Baltimore and go to New York to battle the struggling Yankees again. Here we go. The outline's been typed. I'm a Yankees fan. This is a little tough right now in a 4-game road set. The Jays are 61-53 and have dropped to the last AL wildcard positioning. That's just, again, tough. There's no other way about it. So the lone highlight game of the week was Toronto's 2-1 Saturday win over Cleveland. And 7 Jays pitchers combined to only give up 1 run on 6 hits. And Matt Chapman and Teoscar Hernandez homered, and that was all the Jays needed for that 2-1 victory. Small win for the week. But let's hope the Jays are better for the rundown for Season 2. That's the last Jays rundown of Season 1 for you. And we're going to move on to the Bisons. So unlike the Jays, the Bisons had an incredibly successful week, taking 5 out of 6 in Syracuse. After a 2-week hiatus, the Bisons will now return home for a 2-week homestand. You know what? 2-week hiatus. That's like the podcast now. You know what I mean? 2 weeks, we'll be back with Season 2. And the Bisons now sit at 59-51 and are 2.5 games back of first place in Durham and have a positive run differential. Lehigh Valley is 61-50 and are 1.5 ahead of the Bisons. So the highlight of the week for the Bisons was Sunday's 2-0 win over the Mets. The Bisons used 6 pitchers for the 6-hit shutout win, and the offense was led by Lopez, 3-hit game, and Zach Collins, 2-out RBI single. So hopefully the Bisons can come home to Buffalo and play great in front of the home fans. So that's going to wrap it up for the rundown for this week and for Season 1. We'll be right back with Would You Rather with Mike after this.
We are back with the Buffalonian podcast, moving forward with yet another Would You Rather, the final one of Season 1.
Yeah, we've been saying that for every topic except for the Bills now.
Yeah.
You just completely missed that in the intro, too.
You'll add that in, big guy.
Oh, yeah. No time like the present.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah. We'll fix it in post.
Exactly. So
Post-production.
So, last week was a pretty interesting one, I thought. It was pretty...
You liked Joe's last week?
Yeah, I'd think about it for a minute. This one...
Thanks.
I don't know. I don't know about this one. I'm kind of on the fence.
Is this our first bad one?
I don't.
Oh, that'd be tough.
This is the 6th week. I mean,
that would be tough.
We're bound for one.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Here we go. Would you rather be a player that peaks early in their career and the rest of their career is kind of
mid,
or would you rather be you start your career mid and towards the end you peak and have a very strong end to your career? So like, would you rather have it like
it's not a bad one
here and then go down, or like?
I'd rather have. Okay, so
honest to God, I'd rather have the first one. You know why? Because you could probably make bank off that. If you were good at the end of your career, like you're probably about 35. No one paying you when you're 35. Like
Tom Brady's better than he was when he was 20.
No, I'm saying if I had my peak like in my mid 20s, I'm getting paid like a $70 million contract. If I have
on the sport.
Yep. But if we're talking like NFL. If I do my peak at the end at like 35, I'm not getting a $70 million contract.
That is a good point. I'd rather, as the song says, we started from the bottom, now we're here. You know what I mean? I'd rather do that personally because I like. Here's what it is.
I'm trying to think of an example.
Look at the Rocky movies. All right, that's all I want to say. Low level boxing, right? Like he doesn't do anything. Dude named Spider Rico in like an underground boxing ring, right? He then finally he's already old. Like he's not like a young fighter, a young prospect, if you will, or anything. He then gets his shot, and the end of his career is all up and up from there. Like minus Rocky 5, of course. And then he had that title fight in Rocky Balboa when he was like 70 years old. So I'd rather be good at the end of my career.
You know what it is? You know who actually I think is the perfect example, and you could use the example for both? Kurt Warner.
I was thinking Kurt Warner
plus
too.
He was the MVP and
Great movie. Did you see the movie about him, by the way?
No.
Phenomenal.
No,
Sorry, that's
you do the Beyond Blue and Gold. We do the movie.
Yeah.
Kurt Warner was the MVP in 1999. Went to the Super Bowl, went to another Super Bowl, lost, and then fell off the face of the earth. So like that could be like the guy that peaked and then was mid, but then he rebounded and had a really good end of his career in Arizona.
He's like a hybrid
another
of
Super
the
Bowl
question.
So like you could say like if you had a Kurt Warner, like if you were like mid and then you had like the Kurt Warner ending, like that would be what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Sure.
No,
There you go.
that-
That's a
I
good
would
example.
prefer that.
I would take the first one because I want to. Money.
Mike, what would you take?
I think just financially.
You're speaking
I'm
financially.
not about the money. I'm about
Because-
the game, pal.
But like
I think I'd rather like end my career stronger than
I'd rather go out on a high note.
exactly. Like
than-
I'd rather
than,
like retire
yeah.
like a good player rather than like kind of be outed by the league.
Right. Do you want to be?
Look at
here's
Cam
a good
Newton.
example.
Yeah,
Look at
but-
Cam
exactly.
Newton.
Yeah.
He started
COVID
really
fall.
hot.
That
That's
is
what
a
they
good
keep
one.
saying.
Ends
yeah.
his career, he can't even get signed because he's so bad.
that is a good one. Yeah, but he was an MVP. He made a lot of money.
Even here's my question: would Brett Favre be considered that first option?
No, he was pretty good throughout.
I mean, he was good, but he wasn't.
the end he was bad.
I mean, he
sure.
screwed himself in Minnesota. Like
Right.
they should.
Well, that's what
they
I'm
should have
saying.
moved
Like he
on.
went
was
out
an
with
idiot.
that notion of him. I'd rather go out with Tom Brady on the Bucks going to another team. You know what I'm saying?
I think if you start off your career well, you get that big contract, and then you probably get another big contract just based off name. Like you get another contract off your name. Now Cam's different because Cam got hurt. We're talking about guys that just played like mid. So like if I was a receiver,
So here's
if I was a receiver and I had like a couple of 1,500-yard receiving years, and that's the best I get, and then throughout my career I get like 800, I'm still probably gonna get paid like I'm $1,000 receiver because of my past performance.
I just want to take a second here and put it in 2018 quarterback draft terms. Okay.
All right.
So you have a Josh Allen, right? Mid in his first 2 seasons, arguably, right?
Probably accurately.
Yep. Only coming out of college with a 56% completion percentage, right? You then have a game changer like Lamar Jackson, who gets drafted. Hot. Running all over the place. You know what I mean?
Lamar, yeah.
You know what I mean? Immediately. Running all over the place. So his name's already up there before Josh Allen, right?
Sure.
Josh Allen has had an exponential amount of growth these past few years. And granted, Lamar has been injured.
Another math term for you.
Yes,
The
another
math's
math term
on
for
point.
me. Yeah. So Josh Allen, being who he is now, technically did that, not ending his career, like Mike's saying, but like
Yeah,
he's.
I understand what you're saying, though.
Do you know what I mean? Like
No,
I'd rather be
it's-
the one to build my
it's a
career
good
and end high.
comparison. It's a good comparison. It's also weird because it's like within their first 5 years.
Right.
I feel like this
But
is
I'm talking like, just in general. I'd rather build myself up from the ground.
I feel like this is like if you had a 10-year career and like one guy was really good year 3, 4, and 5, and then was mid 6 to 10, and another guy was kind of mid the first like 6 years, 6, 7 years, but was good 8, 9, 10.
Oh, well, then I have that for you. Ben Roethlisberger. Would you rather be like him?
Well, Ben Roethlisberger won a Super Bowl like
Two Super
second year.
Bowls.
Exactly.
Went to a
Started
third one.
high.
He was pretty good up till the Killer Bees broke up.
That's true.
Well, look at how he ended his career. Though. That's what I'm
true.
saying.
How he ended, he was garbage.
Yeah.
Like, would you would rather that than go out on a high note like Brady?
Well, like I think Brady's a unicorn.
What I'm saying is he technically had that low start.
Sure,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's like
Would you-
I'd rather do that. Look at him still making. He's 40 something and he's outdoing himself when he was 20. I'd rather be doing that. Granted, like you said, a unicorn. But Ben Roethlisberger now is tainted by that last season. Everyone knew
John
he sucked.
Elway.
John Elway
Won
exactly.
2 Super Bowls in his last 2 years.
Yeah.
That's true. And he could be like Dan Marino, who went to a Super Bowl, I think, a second year and never got back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's true. But Aaron Rodgers just won 2 straight MVPs.
No,
so.
that's right. He had those psychedelics. So yeah, he's all good.
Psychedelics.
Yeah, contributed to his MVP run. But anything else anyone wants to add?
It's an interesting debate, honestly.
Mike, that was a good one.
Thank you.
We were dogging on you for maybe having the first bad one, but now it's all on Kiko for season 2. He's the opener.
Yeah, this is, if you didn't know, this is season 1 finale.
Yeah, if you didn't know
We
by
didn't figure
now.
that by now.
Yeah. So that's gonna do it for the Would You Rather segment, and we'll be right back with trivia right after this.
All right, for the final time of season 1, if you didn't know, it's season finale. We are back
You're just gonna keep hitting that.
with
Yeah.
trivia.
Big day for Mike. He is the Would You Rather. Did a successful job to see if his trivia questions are up to par.
Yeah, so We'll just get right into it. We'll start with the Bills question.
Okay.
So we know the Bills have won 9 straight preseason games. Who was the team that beat the Bills last time in the preseason?
I got to think back. Hang
So
on.
they won 9. They had 8. They played a 3-gamer.
3-3.
I don't think they played any preseason games in 20. I think it was COVID, wasn't it?
So this was a Tyrod Taylor
This
year.
was like 2018.
Rex Ryan and Tyrod Taylor year.
Okay, no, it is 2018.
I'm gonna do. It's either Cleveland or Detroit. I won't say. Because they played Cleveland. They played Cleveland in 2018. I was at that preseason game. I can't remember. I'm gonna say Cleveland.
Do you have an answer?
I was at that Cleveland game too.
What?
Yes,
You were?
yes, I was.
It was Josh
I'm
Allen
gonna
versus Baker.
no, I'm gonna
I can't
I'm gonna piggyback off of you because
I didn't think they won that.
You guys
Did you miss it by a game? Was it Detroit?
had the right year, 2018. It was actually against the Cincinnati Bengals. The Andy
Damn it,
Dalton
that's
appreciation
right. Sorry.
game.
What?
It was. No, it was. You're so right.
What week was that? Do you
August
know?
26th, week 3.
It
Oh,
was.
week 2 is the.
No, because that's
week two-
when
No.
AJ McCarron was playing.
Yes, because
yes,
week 2 was the Browns game.
Yes.
Week 3 was that game. Week 4 is the Detroit game.
yes, and the AJ McCarron was our starter that game, if I'm not wrong.
That's a tough one.
Yep.
Because
Andy
Peterman was-
Dalton got us to the playoffs. There's a huge ovation
Yeah,
for him.
yeah.
All the donations to his charity.
Okay.
Oh,
and he just comes in
I
and
feel
beats us.
good about ourselves.
No, yeah,
Cleveland
we
was a
were
good guess.
ballpark. I can't believe we were at that game. This was before we really were chatting. You know what I mean?
Wow.
What a weird coincidence.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
All right, Mike, hit us with another one.
All right, Buffalo Sabres. So we know they're on a massive playoff drought, longest in NHL history at this point. So when was the first year? I don't know if I asked this or not, but when was the first year they qualified for the playoffs
Like in team history?
in team history?
Oh, they came in. Oh my
The
god.
first
72.
playoffs would have been 1971. Just so you know,
So 72 is a good guess. I'm gonna go 72 as well.
73.
Oh man, I was close. Come on.
It was third year.
Third year of his existence.
Oh,
Then they missed the playoffs in 74, and then 75 they lost in the Stanley
I
Cup.
thought it was their second year they made it. Oh well. That was
Again, you guys
Yeah.
are pretty close today.
You know what we are? We're 1-2. We went back one too far.
Yeah.
We went back to week 2 instead of week 3 of 2018. We went back to 1972 instead of 73.
yeah, that's right.
So the final question, or Buffalo question,
Okay.
another pretty iconic landmark, the Buffalo Skyway.
We're just not gonna get this one right either.
when is it coming down? I don't know.
No. No, actually, the opposite. When did it go up? When did it open?
60s?
A little bit earlier.
I'm gonna,
50s.
Whoa.
1954.
Come on. I'm gonna say I know there was like the Eisenhower highways, and he was president from like 50. He was president in the 50s. So I'm gonna say 57.
1955.
I said
Dude!
54.
Dude.
Oh my gosh. One off.
We were in the ball. Listen, we were in
I
the ball.
know.
That one. Okay, that one was actually like a legit. Like I kind of could figure out like at least.
No, there's some good guesses today. Good, really,
Because
actually really
Eisenhower
close.
was the 50s highway. I pay attention to history
Yeah,
class.
you're right.
Some
You're right.
really close answers. Close, but no cigar.
Unfortunately, only sorry, I'm flubbing big here.
We're almost done with season 1.
Yeah, close only counts at horseshoes and hand grenades. So we gotta be better for season 2.
What?
Sorry, you've never heard that before? It's an old time expression. But without further ado, that is going to do it for season 1 of the Buffalonian podcast. It's been one hell of a ride. I'm Joe Callie, as always, joined by Dom Loss and Mike Marino, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with season 2. And Dom, one last time, buddy, for season 1, how do you always end these?
Go Bills, baby.
Go Bills.